Heath was absolutely extraordinary, not just as an actor, but as a person. And when we began this project, he was very central, and we did a lot of playing, changing. Every day when we were shooting, he was a constant surprise, a delight, a magician. And when he died, basically I said, we have to stop the film, we can't finish it. And everybody around me said, no, we must finish it because people have to see what Heath has done. And luckily, Johnny Depp, Colin Farrell, and Jude Law came to the rescue. And luckily, we had a story that involved a magical mirror. And so that mirror saved the film. But Heath was absolutely extraordinary because I don't think the world was even beginning to understand how I was in America a couple of years ago promoting Tideland.
Un paio di anni fa mi ero negli Stati Uniti a promuovere Thailand.
And I said I was going to sue George Bush and Dick Cheney for the illegal and unlawful remake of Brazil. I mean, I think, yes, it's, you should live in London. We have more CCTV, closed circuit TV cameras than anywhere in the world. At every moment, at any moment, every day, people are on television being recorded in London. I mean, in Brazil, the threat of terrorism was the reason, the excuse for the Ministry of Information, and that's what every state now in the West is behaving more and more like that. Thank God for Islamic fundamentalists. It gives Western governments a chance to tighten down on its citizens. The world is not any more dangerous now than it was when I made Brazil, but the media and the governments are trying to make us believe that. Right? And I think people have to resist this. They've got to fight the televisions, the newspapers, and the governments. And I don't want people out in the streets throwing bombs. That's one of the reasons I left America. But because I don't like violence, and I don't agree with the kind of terrorism that is allowing the states to behave. But the states are behaving in a more restrictive way than I think that they should, or that we should allow them to. But we've all become so trapped in owning things and being consumers and frightened of losing our jobs and not having our iPods that we don't take part in society anymore. I think if there was a Brazil #2, it should be made by a younger filmmaker. I mean, I'm not sure if I'm even involved in fantasy, but I'm trying to make other people more comfortable at trying to believe in their own version of reality and fantasy as opposed to the one that is beaten into our heads every day. And there's a thing that worries me at the moment, which is basically video games. When I watch my son do skateboarding on a video game, he does the most extraordinary things. And I think he believes that's possible. And then he goes out on a real skateboard and it hurts. I'm trying to make sure that people never forget where gravity is and how it hurts when you hit the ground. He sort of made a moral leap because Arnold Schwarzenegger doesn't kill people in that movie. He shoots them, wounds them, blows their knees apart, and that is supposed to be more moral than killing somebody. I think it's horrendous. These people are crippled for life. Their wives have to become prostitutes to make money to pay for their medical bills. Their children have to be sold in medical. I mean, it's a bizarre way of thinking, and that wounding somebody like the Terminator did and not killing somebody is morally better. It's the last proper job I had was on the assembly line of the Chevrolet plant in Los Angeles making cars. And I said, this is awful. So I decided two things. I would only do things I had control over, and I wouldn't work for money, ever. So, well, it made life more simple because it closed a lot of doors. So then, to continue this, because I could draw, that was something I had control over, a piece of paper and a pen. So I could make a living, a bad living, but I could survive. And then I just kept working that way, doing things that I wanted to do, that I was passionate about, and not doing things that were there just to make money. And I was lucky. Eventually I went to England and Python, everything. There was a lot of luck involved, but the main thing was to decide not to do things that I couldn't control and not to become dependent on having to make money to survive. To me, surrealism works because the human brain wants to make sense of things. No matter what is thrown in front of it, it tries to make sense. And I've always loved, if you put two things that are not connected, the brain tries to connect them, and that seems to be what I play with. I take this idea and that image, and none of them really connect, but the brain tries to connect them, and so it opens certain doors in there. And that's all I can say. I do what I do very instinctively. I don't intellectualize it. Something excites me, I do it. It's only afterwards I try to make sense out of it. It's interesting, in the film we're finishing right now, we've done these rather strange sequences that make absolute sense to me, but when we've shown the movie to people, they don't understand what it is. And so I then have to sit and write some words to try to help the people to understand the connection. And yet it makes total sense to me. I've always had this problem of thinking everybody else in the world sees things the way I do. I thought I was normal. It turned out I was a freak, a mutant, an alien, and I've learned to live with that. My relationship with screenwriters is only sexual. I don't know, I think the real heroes always are the people you don't know about. It seems to me, the ones that are held up as heroic figures, when you actually look closely, they're not that heroic, and it's probably just the little people that get on and do things that, the public never knows about. Those are the heroes. And I don't know them, so I can't tell you who they are. I don't know, I think it's about timing, is what it's about. I mean, just for example, 12 Monkeys, Bruce Willis and Brad Pitt. It happened at a moment when Bruce wanted to show that he was a serious actor, not just a movie star. So, the timing was perfect. And Brad Pitt was trying to show that he was a very different kind of actor than he had been at that point. And I was just lucky that all of these, these comets, these asteroids, these planets all came together at the right point. And Sean Connery, I suppose the actors, kind of like or respect what I do, and I think they always make the foolish mistake of thinking that I know what I'm doing, and I'm a good director with actors. They discover later that I'm not.